One of my main goals in life for myself was to build a solid, steady, secure internal container. And that became what I wanted to do with other people. That's my life goal, is helping you feel solid, steady, and secure inside yourself, able to be whatever life brings to you. And that's what happens when we begin to be with our shame in a different way. Rather than there's something wrong with us, we begin to see, oh, wow, I needed something. I needed a normal, natural quality that every human being needs it. Every infant, every baby should have that. And when we don't get that, that's when shame occurs. So how do we repair that? The superpower is learning to take our neediness not as something to be ashamed of, but something that's normal, natural. Of course you had needs. Of course. Of course you have needs now. Of course you had needs back then. In fact, back then they were really even stronger because you had nobody else. What is an infant or a baby or a child? They need to have other people there to help them develop a self inside. When we don't have that, that's when we start anxiously trying to get it from outside, or we shut ourselves off from other people because we're so afraid we're not going to ever get it. But those needs are there. They're normal, natural. And so what happens? Let's look at what happens in an everyday life as we're going through. Just, every single moment. So when we're going through life, doing our thing, trundling along, trying to get wherever we're getting, there's a real comfort zone that we're in here, right? We know where to go to get the things we want to get. We know how to deal with life, right? There's a comfort zone. We have a comfort zone of our communications with people. Am I going to text or am I going to call? Am I going to say certain things or not say certain things? So there's a way that we are accustomed to living in life. And when we veer outside of that comfort zone, that's a little tricky. But if we remember how I described the attachment cycle, it is normal and natural. It's part of the life force inside of us to reach outside of this comfort zone and go for more. We actually want to have a much broader, we call it the window of tolerance. We want to open up that comfort zone. But as we're doing that, we enter a different world. And one of the key things that can get us there is beginning to see, okay, I'm going through here, and then something happens. And something always happens. It might be a small thing. It might be a big thing. We might be crossing the street and somebody goes by too quick and we have a startle response. It could be that somebody said something to us. It could be that we don't feel adequate. Shame starts coming in. And this is what I started calling that experience, and let's call it shame, is a protest. Everything, this is based on the research, which I can get into another point, but everything that we're pushing against and we don't like, we can call protest. We can call it a protest behavior. I'm not liking this. I want something else. What is that something else? Most of us, though, let's say the something else is over here. Most of us, we swirl in the protest, getting trapped in it because we don't know what else to do. We don't like it, but we're so used to it, and we don't know how to get here. Maybe nobody ever showed us how, or we didn't trust ourselves. And if we're so full of shame or that there's something wrong with us, it's hard to take those tiny steps to get here. But first, we have to acknowledge that something's wrong. We don't like it. I don't like it when I'm full of shame. Okay, what is the need that's there? But let's just generally say, what is the need? The reason I'm protesting is something isn't there the way that I want. Okay, that's important. Now, the next step is learning how to be with my longing. There's that need that was unfulfilled is a deeply felt longing inside and this actually is the rocket fuel if we can capture it. This is what's going to help us get here. But we don't always feel safe. We have to train our body to have this feeling of longing for something that we didn't think was ever possible. That's where the practice is over and over. Let's track back. When I'm protesting, what is the opposite? What is the protest, our secret guidance system, pointing to here? It's pointing to something. If I'm full of shame, maybe it's as simple, I don't want to be full of shame. Well, what is that experience of not feeling shamed? What would that be like? What would that look like and feel like to not be full of shame, to not make myself wrong? Right? If I'm saying here, there's something wrong with me, what is the opposite we want? What would be more nourishing? That's why I call this a nourishing opposite. Here's the protest. Here's the nourishing opposite. What do I need to make that journey? How do I fill my body with a longing? And then what will always come up is turbulence as I start to take each tiny step moving in that direction. I'm going to come into turbulence, which is different than protest. Protest we're going to experience as a pushing away. And turbulence is like, oh, I want to get there, but oh no, I can't. This can also be where shame comes up. Absolutely. So then we look again, what do I need to help myself walk toward where I want to go? Not to go away from it, but to move toward it. If this protest is all about moving away to get away, how do I move toward?